So I'm on a mission to turn the $1,000 that I started with to $100,000 by flipping cars. I just made it to a little over $41,000 built up in the series so far, and I bought my next 2 cars to keep things going. And this right here is one of them. It's a 2015 Mazda 6. It has only 70,000 miles, and I bought it for $3,300 at an insurance auction. And what do we have to do to get it ready for sale? Well, there's a couple of things, starting with how it runs. Take a listen to how it was running before I even bought the car. So yeah, we gotta address that. Then, of course, there's this. Whoever was driving this car got into some type of crazy accident, and this thing is just mangled. I mean, come on now. Absolutely violated. But the goal will be to sell this for around $7,000 to $8,000, and we're gonna be committing this video to getting this ready for sale. Then in the middle of that, I also got this 2008 Honda Odyssey. I bought this for only $2,300, and this one doesn't need nearly as much, thank God. It's basically just a detail job, that's about it. And we should be able to sell this around $3,500. So my plan, just in general with these flips, is I'm gonna try to tackle the Honda Odyssey first, just because that's something I should be able to just do as a very quick flip. This other car, the Mazda, is gonna need a lot more work, so we're gonna try to take care of that as a second thing. Now, as a very quick mention, just to kind of quickly catch you up with the series, in the last video, if you've seen it, I did have that Subaru Crosstrek that I had to sell. I didn't end up selling at the auction, but I sold through private sale instead. It was able to sell through private sale decently easy, and I made about $1,000 profit off of it. I sold it for $5,000, and I paid all in around $4,000, especially after we paid some fees trying to list it up at the auction. And then right after that, I also bought a Subaru Legacy, paid around $3,700 for it, and I sold it for $5,000, so I made around a $1,300 profit for it. And I literally had to do nothing with that car, not even detail it. It was already cleaned and everything, and I just sold it right after. But now that you're all caught up, let's just get over to taking this to the car wash, getting it all cleaned up, so that we can get over to bringing out all the beauty that this car should have. All right. Just finished up everything with the van. I will be honest, it wasn't really that bad. Especially for a van. I mean, you know, if you've been detailing cars before, like vans, they're probably some of the dirtiest cars to detail. For good reason too. I mean, you know, it's probably owned by soccer moms and stuff like that. So gonna be kids jumping all around, getting candy in the seats, stuff like that. So it's understandable. But this really wasn't that bad. It only really took me about like an hour and a half. Now, as a quick mention, I will also say we got another car while we were in the middle of all this. There's a 2011 Chevrolet Malibu. I believe it has like 120,000 miles. This one, I do have a little bit more of my work cut out. This is a lot dirtier. Still not like crazy dirty, but it is a dirtier interior. But I mean, that's really all we have to do with this one too, just a detail. And I should be able to make like $1,000 off of this one too. And I got this one really with fees, with transportation, everything. It came to like $2,000. But we'll get back to that in a second. The thing that we really have to get to, you already know, is this Mazda now. It's actually crazy how much we have to do with this car, but I'm excited to see how this turns out. I'm just gonna start tearing apart basically everything in the front, just so I could see a real breakdown of exactly what we got ourselves into. Okay, so we got everything apart, and I'll say there's good news and there's bad news, and we're gonna start with the good news first. So the good news is the frame of the car itself is all intact, so it's not like we have to do any type of frame repairs with it. It basically was all just right here, and there's just a lot of damage just right here. From what you could see, it just looked like it was mainly hit in this area, not really on the right hand, but mainly on this spot around this section. So that's a good thing in itself. Along with that, took this back, and pretty obvious why the engine seemed to be running pretty rough, and it seemed like there was like running a lot louder than normal too, and that right here would most likely be the reason why. I mean, there's literally holes in the intake manifold, so that obviously has to get replaced. So, you know, that would suggest the engine itself most likely is all good outside of just that issue in itself. Next good thing is I could just tell the person that owned this car beforehand maintained it well. Like, the oil was literally just changed. I even saw a little bit of the history exterior of the car looks like it's a one owner car as well, and I could tell just from how the car looks. Even on the inside, the interior is basically in like pristine condition. But now for the negative, and the negative is just that really it just seems like there's a pretty good amount of parts that we need to change. Nothing major, but there's a decent amount of parts. And if you want to see everything, this is the entire list that I jotted down. Like, it's probably like 10 to 15 parts that I have to order. And really what's mainly making up that list is, you know, between the intake manifold, it looks like the radiator, I mean, if you could see there, the radiator itself and the condenser got kind of mashed in, so this whole thing is kind of pushed back. The reinforcement bar right here needs to get swapped out. Of course, the headlights, all of that stuff, you know, in the front right here, that needs to get swapped out. So it's a pretty decent amount of stuff to actually swap. And the crazy thing is, let's say, all right, we're gonna do all that stuff. I still technically don't know how it drives. Like, it says runs and drives on the IAA listing, but I mean, I won't know until I actually get this stuff back together and the engine is running good to know that this transmission shifts so smoothly as well. I'm assuming it does because the car, it looks like it was maintained well and everything before it got into the accident, but realistically, I don't completely know until I put everything back together. So that's really gonna be the first task, just making sure everything mechanically works good, getting all that stuff back together, checking to see how it actually drives after that, and then we'll deal with exactly how the car looks with the bodywork and everything it needs as well right after as the final thing. But yeah, I mean, we got our work cut out for us. Let's get to it. Okay, we finally did it. We took apart all of the stuff we had to with this car, and it was a pretty good amount. To be honest, it didn't take as long as I thought. It took probably like a little over 3 hours to take all this stuff apart, and this is how it's all looking now. As I mentioned before I started, I figured that was the case, but like once I started removing space, especially around this area, around the radiator, then everything else cleared out, and that was way easier too, especially with the intake and everything too. So it wasn't too bad. Again, I'm just kind of like anxiously awaiting for when we start the car up after we put together most of the stuff, but you know, we'll see how everything comes together. And on that point, this is some of the parts that we ordered. I will say it came to a pretty decent amount for everything. It was like $1,050 for all the parts alone, and we paid around $3,500 with transportation for the car. And let's say if we're putting another $1,000 into it with the parts, that brings us up to around $4,500 so far. So I'm hoping that everything will go well with starting the car and everything will run right when we actually get everything put back together, because we're starting to creep closer to that $5,000 mark, and we still got to handle some of the bodywork stuff as well. And my goal with this car was really to make at the very least like $2,000 of profit off of it, which we still should be good for. I mean, if we're selling it around like $7,000 to $8,000, but again, that's assuming everything is good with the engine and transmission the time we put everything back together. But let me get to putting together all the parts now so we can finally get to that test drive to see exactly what the whole story is. All right, it's the moment of truth. This is where it all kind of boils down to. I got all the mechanical stuff connected so far, I believe. But I mean, the radiator is back, the condenser is back on. I put coolant back, all this stuff with the air filter and the air intake, that's all replaced right there. Of course, I'm gonna put the bodywork stuff after, but this is the time to just see if everything runs all right. Oh, and by the way, just putting the stuff back together so far, it still wasn't too bad. It probably took around like 3 hours, but gotta say I am pretty nervous right now just to see how everything runs now. So let's get to it. Oh boy, oh boy. All right, y'all, moment of truth. Okay. It's not starting yet. The battery was off for a while, so I'm just gonna let it charge for a little bit and let's try that again. Okay, hopefully it can actually start up this time because it's about to rain. Starting to see some raindrops coming on, but here it goes again. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3. I can tell like it wants to come on, but I don't know if the battery is that dead. I have to charge it up a little bit longer. All right, so this is the last time I'm gonna try because the range really starting to come down now. Let's give it a shot again. After this, we're gonna have to just start troubleshooting exactly why it's not starting to. Let's give this a shot. Okay, it started. The RPMs are still fluctuating now. All right, let's give it a second. And it's still doing that. Okay, so it's still doing that. That's basically around what it was doing when I got the car. And I thought that it was because of that big crack in the intake, but I mean, it might have been that plus a couple of things. So now I gotta troubleshoot exactly why that's the case. I mean, I will say, it wasn't overheating and it wasn't knocking or anything like that. The engine itself sounded fine, but it's just fluctuating still, like nonstop. So, all right, well, we'll go into that next. All right, so we back at it another day, and I will say I did scan it up, and I got a P0101, which is basically linking to either being a bad mass airflow sensor or just basically like a vacuum leak that's in the car. If I'm being realistic, I mean, it would be nice if I could just change the mass airflow sensor and then that's it. But I kind of doubt that's the case, honestly. I'm more so thinking that there's some type of like vacuum leak that's still in there for how much it's fluctuating. So one thing we're gonna try to do first is I'm going to start the car up again. I'm gonna unplug this mass airflow sensor right here, and I'm just gonna see if anything changes with the idle. Generally speaking, if nothing changes, then that means the mass airflow sensor is bad and that'll need to be swapped. Hopefully that's really the case. If things do change and let's say it stalls or something like that, then generally speaking, the mass airflow sensor is fine, so there'll be problems somewhere else. So let's try that out first. All right, got it running again. Okay, so I just saw something when it was running that looked pretty bad. I don't know if it's relating to this same issue or if it's something else, but I could see like a little leak that was coming from down there. I don't know if you guys can really tell, but it's a little wet down there as well. And honestly, it kind of smells like fuel. It smells like there's some fuel that was kind of leaking out somewhere. So time to kind of diagnose that. I'm gonna look around a little bit and see what I could find. All right, so just quickly checking in. I thought about it a little bit. Honestly, I think I'm going to let my recon guy, my mobile recon guy, come and check out the car and try to take care of some of this mechanical stuff. I was planning on, if anything, just having him do some of the bodywork stuff, but this is starting to become a little bit bigger of a job than I really was expecting for myself. I'm decent mechanically, but I'm not like amazing. Even this by itself was a decent amount of work for what I would usually do. So I'm just gonna wait until he comes and then we'll see exactly what he says of what's wrong with the car and what we should do to go forward from here. All right, guys, so we back at it another day. We saw what the problem was. The mobile mechanic just stopped by, took apart a couple of things under the engine bay, and he ended up taking this out. This is the fuel rail for the car, and it looks like one of the gaskets ended up getting messed up. Looks like it was this gasket right here. I guess when the accident happened, it pushed back a couple of things and then ended up kind of hitting into that gasket inside the fuel rail. So I'm gonna need to replace that, and then hopefully everything will be all good mechanically with the car. I'm gonna be starting up the car after that and see how everything runs. Before that happens, I'm just gonna update you on a couple of things too. That Honda Odyssey that we have ended up getting sold. It actually sold literally within a couple of days from the time that I posted it. I sold that for $3,300 and we were all in around $2,100. So we made about a $1,200 profit from it. And then right after that, we bought this car right here. It was a 2007 Mazda 6. A very cheap car, nothing too fancy about it, but I bought it for around, what was it, like $1,600, and goal will be to sell it around $3,000 as well, and I just needed to detail it. That was it. So that's all just going to be kind of pending. And yes, we still have the Chevy Malibu I'm looking to sell as well. But really, the main focus right now is still just this Mazda. There's still a good amount of work needed to be finished up with it. Still have to see how the transmission shifts after everything is in good like running order. And then of course there's all the body work that's going to be needed with the car as well. So let me just get to the mechanic coming again to just kind of finish up putting the car together, and then we'll test it out, like actually starting up the car again. Okay. So the mobile mechanic just let me know that he finished up, actually not even just fixing the issue that we were having with the fuel leak and everything in the line, but also he helped with putting some of the parts back together. So check it out. Let's check out the result. And boom, here it is. So obviously things still need to be changed out. It's not completely back to normal. The hood still has to be swapped out, but the bumper is on, the front is on. Of course, the fitment isn't going to be perfect yet because things still need to be lined up. The hood still needs to go back on and everything. Most of the stuff is back taking place. Next thing is, well, how does it actually drive? How does it run? All that stuff. That's what we're gonna test out now. Got everything hooked up again. Let's do this again. Okay, moment of truth. Last time we did this, it did not go too well. Oh my goodness, it's good so far. It's good so far. It's running so smooth. Really quick, let me just check it under the hood too. Listen to that. It's not shaking. It's not looking like it's about to jump out of the engine bay. It's actually running so smooth. No idles, no oil leaks, no nothing. Oh my gosh. You do not know how good this feels to just, you saw how it was in the beginning of the video. Like, it could barely run at all. Even when we put everything back together, or we thought we put everything back together, everything was still running crazy, fuel leaking everywhere. Like, it was bad. So to just hear this thing running like that now, you don't know how good it feels. It's crazy. But having that said, we still haven't even driven it yet, which is another thing that's crazy, to be honest, because again, for me, I usually am someone that likes to really take down as much risk as possible when I'm buying cars to flip. So the fact that I haven't even driven this thing yet, and I've put like $5,000 plus into the car, kind of wild, but let's see how it is now. All right, so everything is still running fine. Nothing's overheating. There's no engine lights popping up. There's no dash lights at all on, which is great to see because it was that check engine light that was on before. So let's try this out. You're not gonna believe just how nervous I am in general right now. Like, I cannot even put it into words. I mean, I'm praying that this thing is actually going to drive all good, because if it doesn't, man, that's going to really suck. The fact that you know, if we did all this and, you know, something as big as a transmission was messed up and then we got to go sinking more money in, that would be devastating. But I'm reversing now. It went into reverse fine, so that's one good sign already. Got the little backup camera there too. It's funny because I really haven't even checked much of what features this car has either. I've just been so laser focused on getting all the major things fixed with the car. But all right, we backing out, we on the street. Let's see how she drives. All right, I'm gonna take it real slow too. Okay, so far so good. It's at least driving, but I want to see if it actually can shift through a couple of gears as well. Let me take it up and speed a little bit, and you guys can see it with me. I'm mainly checking to see, again, how it actually shifts from one gear to the next, and you can kind of see it right there. Let's say if it looks like it's going up in RPM and then it quickly pops back down, boom, that's good shift. So let's test it real quick. Okay, I think we're good, y'all. It's been running for a while, and again, still no check engine lights, no overheating or nothing like that has come up. Thank God. Thank God this thing is actually shifting right too. That would have sucked if everything went well so far with the engine and then the transmission ended up messing up. But no, we looking good. So now it's time to get on to the rest of just finishing everything up. Obviously, like I said, it's going to be putting the hood back together, some of the little trim pieces on the front, and then painting it all. Of course, I'm not going to be doing this stuff myself. That same guy that was doing the mobile mechanic work is actually really good with painting and stuff too. I've hired him out for that stuff before, and he does an amazing job. So I'm looking forward to see how this car looks when it's all finished. But let's jump to that now. And here we are. Everything is looking all good. Everything is popping just like I was expecting it. I'm probably gonna post it up for, I don't know, maybe like 10 to 15,000. Nothing crazy, you know, get a quick buck off of it. No, let me stop. Obviously, no, it was not painted yet. The hood was put on, the fitment's looking nice, everything is looking good. Obviously, he took off the grill, or the little grill area right there, just so he could kind of paint it off of the car. He's gonna be actually taking off the bumper too. But I'm gonna record when the guy comes to start doing the painting, just to ask a couple questions about how he's gonna do the process, so you guys can learn a couple of stuff if you're trying to do this yourselves as well. All right, bet y'all. So we out here, guys, ready to paint and everything. Gonna make it a quick thing. You see everything is all masked off, just making sure that nothing's getting off on like the neighbors' stuff and everything like that. Got my guy here. You just give us a quick rundown of what you're gonna be doing, like a quick 30-second rundown or so.
Yeah, so for right now, I gotta use this adhesion promoter. Usually you gotta use it for plastic because you need an extra adhesion for plastic pretty much. You can scuff it, you can sand it, but at the end of the day, if you don't use the right stuff, it's gonna, you know, blow away. Like when you see like when someone blows like a bumper or something, you see the paint fly off, that's usually because they don't use this. So right now we're just getting everything prepped up with this adhesion promoter, and then we'll lay on the base, and then after that, if everything goes well, we can put the clear coat right over.
Okay, bet. And you already scuffed it down, right?
Yeah, everything's all scuffed out with a red scuff pad, so I gave it a real good scuff job. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, bet. All right, we'll see the results after. Okay, the day is finally here. The guy is completely done finishing up the car. It's painted, it's cleaned up, everything is all good with it. Before we get to actually showing what the car is, I'm just going to do a quick rundown because we also sold those other two cars. But I also mentioned the old Mazda 6 and then the Chevy Malibu. I sold the Chevy Malibu for $3,200 and I paid all in $1,900 for it. So that made me about a $1,300 profit off of that one. And then for that older Mazda 6, I paid $1,600 for that one. Sold it for $3,000, so made about $1,400 profit off of that one. And just to let you know, those cars that I bought, those quicker flips that I bought outside of that bigger salvage car flip with the Mazda 6, those were actually bought from a dealer auction. And if you can see, I'm doing everything from home. I don't own my own dealership. If you want access to do the same thing yourself, to be able to flip those dealer auction cars like I do, you can go to the link in the description below. There are still spots available, but it does depend on when you actually jump into the link, if there's going to be spots or not. But all right, I had to just quickly get that out of the way. Let's get on to the grand reveal of what this car is looking like. And here we are. Look at this, guys. Look at how good that looks. And keep in mind, this is all done outside too. The guy didn't have no expensive paint booth or nothing like that. You saw the setup. It was a little, raggedy daggedy put together tent type of setup, just to block the paint from spraying all over the place. But beside that, like, this is looking top notch. And even the fitment actually is looking really good too. At one point I was a little concerned about how the fitment would come together, but even that's looking pretty spot on. But I mean, the car is really all good to go. I mean, the good thing was that the rest of the car, I mean, it was maintained really well, so didn't really have much of any cleaning to do on the interior. Just kind of wiped a couple things down and it's all good to go. So let's just wrap everything together. Of course, the car looks all great now, but first of all, there's a lot of things that I could have done a lot better along the whole process, and some things that just didn't really go my way that kind of messed up the whole journey as well. But let's just get into that now. So first of all, for exactly how much I put into the car, it was all in $5,600 for it. Now, I will say that was definitely a decent amount higher than I thought I'd be putting into the car when I was first purchasing it. I thought I'd really be going up to like $5,000 with everything. But you saw what happened. There was a lot of kind of unexpected things that ended up popping up, along with the fact that this took way longer than it was supposed to. But the reason for that was because I actually went on vacation in the middle of right after I got this car, so that really delayed things. And there was so many times where I started to do one thing, or I had to do one thing with the car, but then it would end up raining for an entire week. I couldn't, it would literally scratch out an entire week of being able to work outside. And it's not like I have a garage or anything to work with, so I just kind of had to wait. Now, the good news is that I already have someone that's lined up to purchase the car. They said they're good to purchase it for around $8,100, which is awesome. That's actually more than I was expecting to sell it for, which is good. But I'm also still waiting for the paperwork to come in the mail for the car as well. So that's just why I'm not posting it in this video. Along with that, we also did buy 2 more cars to keep the series going. This is one of them, funny enough, another 2015 Mazda 6, along with this 2017 Dodge Grand Caravan. Both of those cars are going to be in the next video to keep the series going, so make sure you subscribe to see that when it drops, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.